Everyone did good job today. Who's going to do overtime tonight?
I will.
Okay, have decent dinner before you resume work. And keep things tidy, Miss Kim. You can go home now.
Sure thing. Windows are all locked. The machines are turned off. Shall I go for dinner now? Almost everything has been checked. What will be for dinner? Holy shit! Fire! Fire!
Hello everyone. My name is Nanha Park, the security assistant. As seen in the drama, we often see fires caused by faulty electrical cables and not completely extinguished cigarette butts. It's getting cold now that autumn is coming up, thus we warm our rooms and offices, but don't forget to prevent fire. So we will have a close look at the fire prevention and how to use fire extinguishers today. We have Juik Jung, Fire and Rescue First Aid Instructor from the Fire Academy, who will help us.
Hello everyone.
Be careful of fires when you're asleep or awake. I think it's not an overreaction to emphasize the danger of fires, because if a fire breaks out, it can take a heavy toll of lives and can also cause huge damage to properties. How do you define fires at the Fire Academy?
We define fires as combustion that is needed to be extinguished and requires extinguishing the facilities.
I see. It means fire is a thing we can put out by water, sand, or fire extinguishers.
That's it.
Children sometimes play with fire. Sometimes it turns into a big industrial disaster. I reckon there are many kinds of fire. Could you tell us about them?
We can classify fires according to the materials the fire is feeding on. First of all, Class A fires are usually fueled by materials that leave a residue in the form of ash, such as paper, wood, cloth, etc. These types of fires are the most in frequency and the worst in the amount of damage. Cause of these types of fires are marked in white. Secondly, Class B fires involve flammable liquids and gases such as oil, etc. These fires are marked in brown. Fires that involve energized electrical wiring or equipment are Class C fires, and they are marked in navy. Class C fires tend to spread and turn Class A fires. Fires that fueled by flammable metals are Class D fires and can be put out with sand. If you try to extinguish Class D fires with water, it will react with water and will generate hydrogen that worsen the fires. So never try to put out Class D fires with water.
Please remember that water can't be used to put out all types of fires. By the way, we have lots of mountains in Korea. When I see a forest fire, I'm really scared. Can you tell me what causes fires?
When we have a close look at the causes of fires, we find that more than 30% of fires are generated by electrical equipment, followed by cigarettes, arson, etc. 30% of fires take place in houses or apartments. 20% are in cars, while 10% are in the factory or in the office or office fires.
As in the drama we watched, the main cause of fires were electrical and cigarette butts. Now why don't we watch another drama on how to prevent fires in the workplace?
Everyone has done a good job today. Are you gonna work late, Mr. Kim? Don't throw away cigarette butts again, okay?
Ha 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 ha! Don't worry about it.
Have dinner before you resume work, and look around the workplace before you go back home, okay?
Okay, have a nice dinner.
All right, everyone can go home.
Why are there so many sockets here? What's for dinner tonight?
Are you going to put the cigarette butt in the wash machine? Or...
Ha 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 ha. No way. Be careful of fires when you're asleep or awake. Of course I'll put this in the ashtray.
Haha, all right, let's go for dinner. I'll buy dinner.
Yeah, right. Don't forget to check if there's any chances of electrical generated fires, and check for cigarette butts before you leave workplaces. Now you can let us know the fire prevention methods for each type of fire.
Okay, check whether the electrical appliances have KS or Q quality approval before you use them. And replace old cables before it's too late. Install circuit breakers, and under any circumstances, don't overload sockets. Besides, we have to use standard fuses with standard capacity.
I see. And I think it may also be important to be careful of cigarettes, gas, and oil. What else do we have to be careful about?
Well, wherever people smoke, it can be set fire, so we have to pay more attention. Throwing cigarette butts anywhere, particularly during climbing, is absolutely banned. And you must ventilate the house by opening windows and get the gas facilities inspected regularly. Besides, you must turn off the heaters before you fuel them, and be careful about leaking oil. Moreover, don't move the heaters when they are on. Also, preparing fire extinguishers and sandbags is the best way to prevent fire.
Yeah, I guess everyone knows that, but don't forget to keep that in mind. By the way, when I see sparks coming off during welding, I'm really scared of it. Have they ever caused fires?
Of course they cause fires. Sparks from welding work sometimes onto flammable liquids and cause fires. When you weld something, you must put flammable materials away and prepare fire extinguishers or water before proceeding work. Besides, don't forget to do the job in the presence of security managers.
Okay, we checked fire prevention methods per fire types. Now it's time to check the methods per place. You mentioned the most frequent places of fires are houses, work, and in cars. Is there any other cause of fires except for accidents?
Yes, of course. Cars are often set on fire on the street or in parking lots by arsonists cigarettes, gas, and playing with fires.
Yeah, but normally we don't have fire extinguishers in cars, so we get confused when fires break out. Can you tell us what we should do in such events?
Don't be confused. First of all, we have to consider 3 principles. Most importantly, you must prevent the fuel from leaking, and if it leaks, don't forget to separate it from the sparks. Moreover, protect passengers from fires, heat, and toxic gas. Offer enough opportunities for passengers to escape.
Women like me normally have no idea about these kinds of things. I think it will be helpful for not only women but also workers to know about these dangerous situations. Are there any other prevention methods at work?
Well, companies must designate a place to handle fire and appoint a person in charge, as well as his or her assistant. And the smoking area must be designated. Besides, educate workers before and after work. It's a good idea to practice how to use fire extinguishers during job training in case of fire.
I see. I was told that there are ways to put out fires when fires break out. We have a worker who has a question about it. Let's see and listen to the answers.
I heard about many ways of putting out fires when they break out. Can you tell us about the methods of extinguishing fires and their principles?
We've got his question. Would you answer his question?
Extinguishing is defined as cooling the temperature below firing point or removing flammable materials from the fire spot. In addition, preventing a chain reaction by blocking the supply of oxygen. As you can see, there are 3 big categories: cooling, removing, suffocating. Firstly, extinguishing through cooling by means of lowering the temperature of the burning materials below firing point. Water that we drink every day is one example of cooling material. Water is easy to find and very cheap, so it works well as an extinguishing material. Secondly, extinguishing by removing flammable materials, preventing fire from spreading. Removing flammable materials or stopping the supply of gas, as well as blowing off VOC by using explosives in the event of fires at oil fields are good examples. Finally, extinguishing by suffocating means putting out fires by reducing the amount of oxygen that is needed to burn, or stop the supply of oxygen by covering the surface of burning materials with extinguishing agent.
I think selecting an appropriate fire extinguisher is also important. I found fire extinguishers around me many times, though frankly, I've never used one. I think it goes for many people as well.
Yes, that's true, because people are confused when fires break out. It will be very hard to handle fires unless they learn how to use fire extinguishers in advance.
That's why we will take time now to learn how to use fire extinguishers. Like I said, we've seen fire extinguishers, but we often don't know how to use them. Can you briefly explain to us how to use them?
There are two kinds of fire extinguishers, pressure accumulated type and pressurized type. Pressure accumulated type has an extinguishing agent and compressed air or nitrogen gas in its body, and it has a pressure gauge to enable users to check the pressure. Pressure control fire extinguishers are applied because when they are being used, and there are two types, on-off type and ejection type.
How can we maintain these fire extinguishers?
Maintaining fire extinguishers, it's very important to maintain them in good condition. Do you ever use fire extinguishers as decorations at the office or toilet? If you put fire extinguishers in humid places, the extinguishing agent becomes stiff and not be able to operate, so we need to shake or turn them over once a month for longer use. Also, we need to check the extinguisher exterior conditions for rust, status of pin and seal, blocking of nozzle, as well as connection, and exchange the agents for the fire extinguishers that are more than 5 years old.
I see. There are some other types of extinguishers apart from those we've just studied now, so we will go to the Fire Academy and check them out. Plus, we'll learn how to use them. Let's have a look. We are at the Rescue and Aid Center in the Fire Academy. We found many kinds of fire extinguishers. Let me check them out. This one is the most familiar. It is for home protection.
Yes, it is. This is an ABC fire extinguisher that you can see often. The reason why this is called ABC fire extinguisher is that this can be applied to ordinary combustibles, flammable liquids, and electrical equipment. This one is a CO2 fire extinguisher. This is not the one you can find easily. This is very effective on fires and electronic facilities, electric fires. And this is a Halon 1211 fire extinguisher. This is very useful to put out fires at telecommunication facilities.
How will we use these fire extinguishers? Is it the same?
That's right. First of all, hold the handle of the extinguisher without confusion. And we need to get close to fires. After approaching to the fires, pull the pin on the top of the extinguisher. After pulling the pin, turn your back against wind and aim the nozzle toward the base of the fire. After you aim to the base of the fire, squeeze the fire extinguisher.
I think all of you realize how this extinguisher is important. Deploying a fire extinguisher at each office is necessary. Please don't forget how to use it and manage dangerous situations wisely. Isn't it easy to use a fire extinguisher than we think? Please keep it in mind. Now we'll listen to what the firefighters say.
People often make mistakes at the fire spot. I found a case that people left the extinguisher at the spot because he or she didn't know how to use it. If you do that, fires will never be put out. Fire extinguishers are not for throwing, but for discharging.
Check out where the fire hydrant is in the building and make sure that it is well maintained and that there's no problem. Also keep the water's temperature at proper level. You can put out fires without delay as long as you check out these 3 things.
I see. You gave us a very detailed advice since you fight against fires on site. You mentioned a fire hydrant. Could you tell us some more about it?
A fire hydrant is extinguishing equipment that is fixed in buildings and is a source of water. It enables us to put out fires quickly at the first stage of fires in buildings. Killing big fires with a hydrant is much easier than using fire extinguishers. The main components of fire hydrants consist of lamps, fire communicators, speakers, angle valve, hose, and nozzle.
I think fire hydrants may be useful to prevent small fires from developing. Then it may be important to preserve hydrants as well when it's not used. How can we keep hydrants in good conditions?
You should post the manual next to the fire hydrant, and we tend to stack things around a fire hydrant. But it's very dangerous. It can take firefighters valuable time.
Let's move to a fire hydrant and have a look at how to use it. It looks like a fire hydrant to me.
That's it.
Press this in case of fires.
That's right. You inform others about fire by pressing the fire communicator. This is a location lamp. This indicates where the fire is.
What are we supposed to do after pressing the communicator?
This fire hydrant is operated by a group of people that consist of 3. Open the indoor fire hydrant and take out the hose and nozzle. 2 person can go to the fire spot and hold the nozzle firmly. And another one opens the angle valve completely by turning it left so that water can be discharged. After extinguishing, lock the angle valve and dry the hose. After all, put the hose back to the fire hydrant.
So far, we've learned fire prevention skills. Don't forget that you can prevent fires or put out fires as long as you know how to control the fires. Any last advice?
When it comes to fires, prevention is a must. The more it's getting cold, the more we have to pay attention on fires.
Yes. Remember that fires can take everything in a short time. Please be aware of the danger of fires. Thanks for your time. Goodbye.